Hello, racing fans. Welcome to the channel for another episode in the series. We have Summer Jumps racing on Sunday coming from Toxeter and Cartmel, and we do have two really good race cards. So much so that it did take a fair bit of narrowing down my selection. But I've got three for you to take a look at on Sunday's action. Hopefully, we can have a nice return for our been a pretty decent start to the Summer Jump series, if we're going to call it that, I suppose. We started with episode one, and we had a nice 11-1 winner. We did draw a blank in the latest episode. Really frustratingly, didn't get anything on Bow's benefit after she won at 11-1. I made a really big case for her returning to form. Didn't get a penny down, and they are a kick in the teeth. But it's racing, it's betting. Just have to get on with it, and are still a profit nevertheless. Before we do get on to my selections for Sunday, I do just want to highlight my private members that I have had for over 5 years. I've got thousands of members come through to my business. Not only do you get my daily tips and the proper stakes, you get all of my anti-post selections, you get my weekly golf bets, my anti-post golf bets. Last week we actually landed a nice 100-1 winner. This week I have just made my Open Championship selections live. I've got three 125-1 and bigger. My only selections, my private members today won at 7-2. So everything on the tipping side is going very well. But also, I do bring lots of content, loads of video footage, inside information to all of the French recruits, the point-to-point recruits. Where have they gone to? Who purchased them? How much do they cost? What have they achieved? What to expect next season? You'll get first view into all of my stable tours with Gordon Elliott, Henry Slenhead, etc. too. So if you want to make sure you're ahead of the game, ready for the jump season, as a viewer of my YouTube channel, there is a link in the description below where you can come and join me and my members. Okay, but three selections for Sunday's action. And there are a few notable runners just to point out to you as well. For those that aren't aware of Faye Bramley, she has an operation which is pretty much partnered with Tony McCoy, and they have a little bit of a process where they seem to buy horses from top yards that maybe haven't achieved everything or may still be a little bit unexposed. They get them in, find their peak form, and then target them for good races. And they've done so with a lot of success. You'll notice, or you could or may remember, Glenn Gooley they purchased from Willie Mullins. And then they went on to win the Cheltenham December Gold Cup with him. Faye then also purchased Pagan from Willie Mullins and the Donnellys, and then went on to win multiple listed mares chases. But she's a really good trainer in her own right too. She had two nice novices this season, Lord Byron and Winston Jr. Winston Jr. is going to be a cracking chaser, and Lord Byron was really good all year and ended up finishing a close second to King Brasco Gray in the Grade 1 at Punchestown to finish the season. He's actually still a novice for next year, so just bear that in mind. Probably going to be the highest rated second season novice hurdler for next campaign. But tomorrow, Faye has another three new recruits from Willie Mullins. She has Sony Bill, Blizzard of Oz, and Zillow. They're all running tomorrow, but it's worth probably putting them in your tracker because the idea generally, if you take a look at the model and how it's been so far, is like I said, they get these horses in, find a target for them, get them primed for it, and they generally come good on the day. So Sony Bill, Blizzard of Oz, and Zillow all run tomorrow. But my view would be that tomorrow's probably not the day to catch them, although give them a little bit of a market check. But the idea is I'm sure they're going to have bigger pots in mind for these further down the line. Okay, so I have three selections for you though on Sunday. I'm going to go through these nice and quick for you just to not take up too much time. And the England game is on as I do this episode. And we're going to start off with the highlight of the day, which is the 325 at Toxeter. It's the Summer Cup handicap chase over 3 miles, and there's 40 grand to the winner. And that is why it has received so much attention from the yards. We've got Risk in the Ground and Kiwoo at 3-1 joint favourites. We've got Queensbury Boy at 5s, Samuel Spade at 8s, Regard at 10s, Grand Clermont at 11s, and then any price you like for the remainder. We are going to start with Kiwoo, seemingly really well fancied here. But to me, this is a little bit of a false favourite. He actually has a few lengths to find with Regard, who's a really good horse in his own right. And Regard actually lines up here at 11-1. So I'd much rather take my chance on him. He is actually one I considered quite strongly for this race. The only issue is with Regard. He has been running over further, mainly in recent times. He did drop back to this trip last time out and did come on quite good at the end. The only problem is does tend to get a little bit outpaced, and this sort of trip may not be ideal. It doesn't scream like a horse that wants this drop back to 3 miles, but I'm a big fan of the Jamie Snowden yard, and they did win this race last year with only the bold. So they may well have targeted this for him. I was just a bit worried that he was outpaced over this trip last time out, but he definitely would be the danger. The one I'm siding with here, though, and this is where it could pay to join my service too. I put up risk on the ground earlier today each way, but he has been smashed into 3-1 favourite. But he is still the one for me, though. This is the type of race that the Skeltons love to target. They're money chasers. The champion trainer will be licking his lips at the 40k prize here. And this is a horse that actually did win at this meeting a few years ago too. And for me, he looks in better shape than he's been in a long, long time. He comes around the good ground, which clearly suits him nicely. And he has actually won a grade 2 over at 2 mile 4 furlongs. Last time out, he stepped up to this 3 miles for the first time in a while and actually stayed no problem at all. He has tried this trip previously and not really got the difference very well. But I think this is a horse that's getting better with age, bit of maturity, and he now does look like a proper 3 mile chaser. So it's no surprise to see that he's been smashed in to 3-1. But again, if you come and join my members group, we are on at bigger prices each way. The second race is the 403 at Uttoxeter, the Bet365 handicap hurdle over 3 miles. Cribilli is your 4-1 favourite. We have Ebony Warrior at 4-1. Miss Goldfire at 6 is American Sniper at 7, Musique Defoe at 8, and any price you like for the rest. We'll start with Cribilli, who has been a cliff horse for many people. Of course, he was favourite for the plate at the Cheltenham Festival a few times, and he has been really difficult to win with, but he did get off the mark last time out for the first time in a long time, but that was over 2 mile 4 furlongs and under Harry Cobden for the very first time. He actually stayed on really well late to get up, and he did actually overcome a fair few traffic problems. So he goes back up to 3 miles today, and you would actually, on most cases, suggest that the credentials feel strong. He looks like a horse that was crying out to come back up and trip, but it's been really hard to get him into the winner's enclosure. So it could be hard for him to back it up too. And prior to that, he hadn't actually won since 2024. So even though the ability is in Cribilli, in a race like this, I don't really want to be taking these prices about and backing that up. American Sniper's in here. He's actually one of my old favourites, and he's a really important runner in this race for a few reasons. He does come into this in really good form. He won last time out at 2 mile 4, but he's another. He has won up at 3 miles previously. Now, what's important about him here is that he loves to go from the front. And whilst he's in the mood, you can imagine they're going to set him off nice and fast early at the front of this race again. So that makes him a really big danger. But I think by him going out in front does give the opportunity to Ebony Warrior, who's going to do the opposite and probably sit right off the pace. He's the one that gets the vote here. Comes here in really good form after winning at Worcester last time out really nicely. And I think with American Sniper going off in front, this race is going to suit him really nicely. I think this is the one that's going to sit back. He'll pick them off one by one, get his jumping together, and then play his hands really late. And because they're going to go fast, this should set up really well for a strong finisher. His win was only 3 weeks ago, so he should be really fit. You'd imagine that the Killahana and McPherson team have got him home, freshened him up, and had this race in mind for him since that win. And they're really good trainers. They don't have many horses, but the opportunities they do get, they do tend to take really well, and he does need to be considered. And the final selection of the day comes over at Carmel, and this is a 16-1 shot, which I think is way overpriced. This is a handicap chase over the extended 3 mile 1.5 furlongs, and you've got some exposed horses, if you like, in here. Now, they do have form, though. It's not like they're untalented, but this is a drop in grade for my selection, really, despite it being his chase debut. Now, if we take a look at the leader here, Halfway House Lad, he's up again another £7. We've got Leonard Ricci taking off £10, but that only sort of counteracts it to about 3. Still need a big performance there. King of the Game won nicely last time out. Not sure to back it up. Croak Patrick, good form, hard to win with. Star Turn could be well handicapped. But if you look further down this field here, there's a horse called You Did for Brian Ellison at 16-1. And I think this could be well worth a flyer here. This is a horse last season that showed real nice improvement. He won over 2 mile 4 at Hexham on good ground. He was then second over 3 miles. He then stayed over 3 miles and won at Musselburgh on soft ground, and then put in 2 really poor performances next time out at the end of his season. But I think you can put a line through those. I don't think everything went right for him in those races. And prior to that, he was clearly a very progressive story. Now, he's a 6-year-old in this race, so he's the horse that comes here very much unexposed as a chaser, very unexposed off an official rating of 90. And if you consider Brian Ellison being such a good target trainer, he isn't here just for a spin. He's here to win the race and here to, here with intent, shall we say, regardless. Now, in this field, like I said, you've got exposed horses, and we may find one or two too good because there is some nice form within this field. But You Did was a really progressive horse last year up until those last 2 races where things clearly weren't right for whatever reason. He wouldn't be running here unless Brian Ellison thought he was ready to take his chance over fences, and dropping in grade off a mark of 90 for this sort of race, I think makes him a really intriguing runner at 16-1, and he will be an each way selection for me. Okay, so there you go. 3 selections for you on Sunday. Risk in the Ground, Ebony Warrior, then You Did at 16-1 each way. I'll be back again in the next few days for some more summer jumps racing. I don't actually know when the next meetings are, but I'll have a look after this episode anyway and get back to business. Don't forget, there's a Discord link in the description below. And keep an eye on Faye Browning's horses for tomorrow as well. I'll see you all real soon, and thanks again for tuning in.